Hi guys, my name's Harvey and in this video I'll cover the basics of ADC. So I want to start with something that everybody should implement into their gameplay, this being to help everyone optimize their settings. These may take some time to get used to at first, but will definitely be useful in the long run. Before we begin, I just want to preface and say these are my keybinds. Each button can be changed differently for your preference. So the first thing you're going to want to do is head into the interface settings and change your HUD scale to 0, and then change your minimap scale to 100. You want the HUD scale at 0 so you can see what's going on your screen, and the HUD just takes up way too much space. The minimap is crucial, so you want it as big as possible so you can understand what's going on when you look at it. So the next thing you're going to want to do is enable quick casting on everything apart from your trinket. You don't want to quick cast your trinket because you want full control over where you place your boards. What quick casting will do is it will remove the indicator before you fire an ability. For example here, instead of having to confirm where I want my W to go, it will just fire in that direction immediately. Another quick thing you're going to want to do is go into your settings and turn on your combat text. Some of these are preference, but the main one you want turned on is experience. If you hover over your level in game, it will show you exactly how much experience you need to get to the next level, and this will show you how much XP you're picking up per minion. So to move my camera, I use my mouse scroll wheel. I prefer this over dragging the cursor to the edge of the screen, however it is preference. I'd definitely suggest trying out the mouse scroll wheel and giving it a bit of time to get used to, as in my opinion it's the best way to move your camera. Instead of having to move your mouse right to the edge of the screen, you can move it from in the middle by just holding down the scroll wheel. Another thing that I keybind is my spacebar to lock my camera back on myself, so even if I'm in a team fight where there's a lot going on, I can just press spacebar and go straight back to my character. However, whatever option you choose, it's best to not play in locked cam as it's just not optimal at all. It will probably take some time to get used to, but it will definitely be worth it in the long run. So the next thing you're going to want to do is enable player attack move click. You can see here mine is bound to A. This is what you're going to want to be pressing to auto attack. Attacking with this instead of right click is crucial as an ADC. What this will do is it will attack the closest enemy to your cursor. The reason you want to use this over right clicking with your mouse is if you slightly misclick in a fight when you're right clicking, you will misposition yourself. If you're right clicking and you slightly press behind the enemy, you'll walk towards them, which makes you extremely vulnerable. Whereas with player attack move click, you won't move at all. All you will do is attack the closest person to your cursor. Another thing you're going to want to bind here is player attack move. As you can see here, mine is bound to S. What this will do is once pressed, it will show you like a non-quick casted version of an auto attack, and all that means is it's going to ask you to confirm your auto attack. At first this sounds like a bad idea, but it's not. Now, unlike not quick casting your abilities, you can use this without changing your settings. You can decide in the middle of the game if you want to use it or if you don't want to use it. This is good to have bound due to the range circle that you see around your character. This is your player's attack range. This is really useful to know as you want to stay at max range in fights to keep yourself safe. Using this in combination with the previously explained player attack move click, the button that was bound to A, allows you to maneuver a fight way better than right clicking. Also, player attack move is extremely useful in lane when you want to time your autos just right to pick up CS and also trade with the enemy if they try and take a CS. Keeping your player's attack range open allows you to trade if the enemy walks just into the edge of your attack range. Once again, extremely useful in lane. Animation cancels are a huge part of mechanics. I'll try and explain the concept with Kai'Sa. As you can see from this clip, my W deals 126 damage and my autos deal 47. What you will notice is if I W and auto at nearly exactly the same time, I'll get a free auto without showing the animation. This can be confirmed by looking at the last hit saying 47, not 126. Learning how to animation cancel certain abilities on certain champions will increase your DPS significantly. Not just auto attacks can be animation cancelled, you can also animation cancel certain abilities. For example, with Kai'Sa, I can use my W during my R. This cancels the animation and the channel required of the W. It takes some time to get used to, but it's definitely worth it. This is somewhat considered like a combo. I would suggest heading over to u.gg and checking out their combo section. Here you can learn certain mechanics for certain champions. You can find out what certain abilities can be auto-cancelled on certain champions. However, I will give warning, this does cost, and I'll show an example of how they teach their combos. Also, fair warning, you definitely can find this information elsewhere. However, u.gg combines it and makes it convenient. Knowing certain combos helps you with DPS. So for example, on Kai'Sa, I know that my W deals significantly more damage when it caps off my passive stacks. Certain champs will have combos like this that are necessary to be executed to deal significant damage. So the two main things I want to focus on when talking about laning phase is win conditions and wave management. I'll start with win conditions. So a win condition is simply how you're going to win the lane. And a good way to break this down is by looking at the four major win conditions. These are catch, all-in, poke, and trade. So a catch lane would be something like Nautilus and Jinx. Nautilus's win condition is to catch out the enemy ADC with a hook. This is why it's called a catch lane. In a catch lane, your objective is to simply catch the enemy out and kill them. Champions such as Blitzcrank, Morgana, Thresh, Pyke, and Nautilus fall into this category. An all-in lane would be something like Leona and Draven. Once Leona locks onto the champion, Draven follows up and does as much damage as possible to burst through their HP. Once again, it's pretty much in the name, you just want to all-in a champion. You want to deal as much damage as possible and kill them. Champions like Leona and Alistar come into this category. So a poke lane would be something like Zyra and Varus. Zyra's plants give her a lot of range, so she can poke down the enemy without them having a chance to respond. Your objective in this lane would be to gain a HP lead, so they have to back. Poke lanes have less kill threat, but they gain advantages through things like CS leads. Supports like Sona, Soraka, and Zyra fall into this category. So a trade lane would be something like Nami and Kai'Sa. Their win condition is to get consistently profitable trades more than the enemies. So for example, if you go for a small fight and you come out profitable by 100 damage, you then win that trade and consistently try and do more trades following up from it. Supports like Nami are good for this because they can heal you after the trades. Champions like Nami, Taric, and Janna would fall into this category. Now you may wonder why I'm only talking about supports, and that's mainly because there are not many ADCs that change a lane's win condition. These are very rare exceptions, such as Draven will always want to be in an all-in lane. However, the support normally decides the lane's win condition. ADCs can complement their support's win conditions, but they can't really ever decide it. For example, if you're an ADC and you lock in Varus and your support locks in Zyra, your lane win condition is going to be poke. However, if your support locks in Thresh, your win condition becomes catch. Another thing on top of this is your support can lean into other categories. For example, Nami has a catch with her bubble. However, this system of looking at things can help you identify win conditions. Also, beware of your enemy's win conditions and try to deny them. So now I want to talk a little bit about wave management. This concept can kind of scare a few people, however I'll assure you that it's not that difficult. There are three main wave management techniques you're going to want to use. There's freezing, slow pushing, and fast pushing. So I'll start out with explaining fast pushing. This is the most simple of the three. You're literally just going to want to kill as many minions as you can as fast as possible. This could be to siege, get priority for an objective, or even to roam. So slow pushing is kind of the opposite of that. The objective of slow pushing is to build up a massive wave. This wave could be big enough to even threaten towers. The way you're going to want to slow push is you're going to want to minimize the damage dealt to your wave. However, you do not want to kill all the minions. If you was to just kill all the minions, you'd be fast pushing and your wave wouldn't build up slowly. The best way to minimize damage is to kill the caster minions. The melee minions tank more, but they do less damage than the caster minions. Therefore, if the melee minions are left up, your wave will still have to clear them, which takes time. However, however the caster minions will not be there to damage your wave. Slow pushes are good for setting up future pressure. For example, if you've built up a slow push in bot and now there's a ginormous wave hitting the tower, the enemy team have to send someone to clear that, which gives you pressure to do things such as Baron. So there are two main places that you'll want to freeze your wave. You'll either want to freeze in the middle of the lane or towards your tower. So if you were to freeze in the middle of the lane, you'd want to match the enemy damage on the wave. So for example, if an enemy deals 100 damage to a caster minion, you're going to want to do 100 damage to their caster minion to keep the wave in that state. This will keep it so the waves keep crashing in the middle of the lane. So freezing towards your tower is a bit more complex because of the reinforcement distance. So for example, if there's a wave of enemy minions at your tower, your minions will reach there first, which will deal more damage to the enemy wave, which will then result in a push. However, to counter this, what you do is you gather extra minions. This will keep the lane in that position, and then if you only last hit, the wave will stay in that position and you can maintain the freeze. So those are the three ways of maintaining waves. Choosing which way to manage your wave will come with time and experience, so I'd suggest you start practicing with these concepts in your games. So when teamfighting, there are three major rules that you need to follow. Rule number one is do not die. You've probably heard the term a dead carry does no damage, so the worst thing you can do is die in the middle of a fight. Once rule number one is met, start with number two. Rule number two is be hitting someone. If you are under no kill threat from the enemy team, you need to be doing the most damage possible to the closest target. Rule number two kind of segues you into rule number three. Rule number three is look for opportunities to hit high priority targets. However, the rule number three comes with a caveat. Do not overcommit. The worst feeling is flashing in to hit a high priority target and then dying because you risk your own safety for it. In this clip you can see the rules unfold. Firstly, you can see me standing at a safe distance to not get caught by Zach for then his team to follow up and one-shot me. I then trap him and start autoing him to follow up from rule 2. The third rule comes into play here when I see Leona hit a stun onto Vayne. Zach is low enough and offers no kill threat, so I can start autoing Vayne instead. In this clip, once again, you can start by seeing I follow up on rule 1 first, making sure I'm safe and the enemy has no kill threat on me. I look for opportunities here and get a trap onto the enemy team, which allows me to follow up on rule 2 and hit them from a safe distance. By this time, the fight is already won. I notice this and I see Caitlyn on the side. I chase her down as I see it as an easy pickup. You'll notice I haven't really mentioned rule 3 in this fight. That is because by the time I'm safe enough to hit a priority target, the fight is already over. You will find a lot of times you only need to follow up on rules 1 and 2. In this clip you see me following rule 1 by standing very far back at the start of the fight. I then start hitting someone as they approach, as it's safe to do so. However, as soon as Rumble ults in this fight, I immediately spot an opportunity to hit priority targets on their backline. I use my Graviton ult to stun them and get as much damage off of Severum as I run in. The job of an ADC is very straightforward in team fights. You want to deal as much damage as possible and stay alive. covered the very basic list of rules that you should look for in fights in this video. However, I'll be making more content for concepts like this in the future. This video is getting pretty long and I wanted to focus on the basics. So drop a follow and comment if you wish for me to make content like this in the future. For now, my in-depth guides will be focused mainly on ADC, however, I'll be applying like a macro knowledge as well. Anyway, I should wrap this video up and come to a close. Thank you all for watching. I actually really enjoyed making this video, and my current plan is to upload once a week, like an in-depth video, but that's just for now. I could end up uploading more than once a week. And finally, if you have any questions, just message me on some sort of social media, Fruit Labs, Discord, Instagram. Given enough time, I'll get back to you. Once again, thanks all for watching.